I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 2 English lesson on irregular past tense. All right, so we're doing grade 2 English lesson on irregular past tense. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, all right, so we're doing irregular past tense. We're doing grade 2, right? Irregular. And there's a difference between regular past tense and irregular past tense. So we're doing the irregular past tense. And we're going to find out how things have changed from the regular to the irregular past tense. All right, so we have our chapter is irregular past tense. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 2. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of irregular past tense is to identify the irregular past, all right, so we see that our chapter is irregular past tense. All right. So we said that when it comes to regular, firstly, right, we have our past tense. And remember, when it comes to the tenses, it's either in the future tense, in the past tense, or it is now in the present tense. Those are your different tenses, right? So now, if you make mention of things that are in the past, All right. So now when it comes to our irregular past tense, firstly, past tense. I said earlier on, tenses are either the present tense, the past, and the future. Now you have past. And if we were to identify the past tense of certain words, then it means that the wording changes. All right. So we said we're doing irregular past tense, English language arts, grade 2, and we're going to identify. So most of our irregular tenses are, or let's say most of our verbs are regular. And when it is regular, then it's like saying we're adding ed or we're adding d to a word to show that it is in the past tense, right? It's like saying if we want to say that I jump on the bed, that is something that you're doing now. Now I jump on the bed. But in the past, you see, so now I jump on the bed. But in the past tense, which is the regular, not the irregular, regular, we say jumped on the bed. So jumped. And as all we did was we added an ed. It's the same like saying I watched a movie. So watched, and the word, the ed, the letters ed is added to the word to show the irregular past tense. And that is basically verbs in the regular past tense. But now we're going on to verbs in the irregular past tense. Yes, we are doing irregular past tense, but as you can see here, it first tells us that most of the verbs are regular, right? So first we are focusing on regular, and when we do the regular past tense, then our past tense verb ends with an ed or it ends with a d to get the past tense form of the verb, right? That is the regular past tense. So you'll have words like jumped and watched and danced and played. Those are all regular past tense. Yes, that is regular. Now, if we go to the irregular past tense, here it says some verbs are irregular in the past tense, which means that they do not follow any rules. So which means that when it comes to the regular past tense or the irregular past tense, you're going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb when it comes to irregular past tense. All right. So when it comes to the irregular past tense, you're gonna have to remember the form of the verb. Because remember with the regular past tense, we can't just say add N, add D, add E, remove whatever. You're gonna have to remember the past tense form of the verb. All right. And if we look at an example, right, of an irregular past tense, then look at the word. It says Louise did his homework. Did his homework. So Louise did his homework. And if you look at that word did, right? And this word did, because now you see, yes, where the irregular comes in, instead of giving a specific action, we just say that Louis did his homework. So which means that the irregular past tense is did. So did is our irregular past tense. And the normal verb is do. So did is the irregular past tense of do. I do something in the past, I did something. All right. So once again, irregular past tense and regular past tense are different. All right. So when it comes to the irregular past tense, sometimes the wording changes of the verb in order to show that it is an irregular past tense. The wording can even change. You're not just adding an ed or you're not just adding a d anymore. All right. So now we're going to A plus students.ca, and we are going to identify the irregular past, and we're going to identify the irregular past tense. Right? And remember, when it comes to the irregular past tense, the wording changes. Right? So when it comes to the irregular past tense, sometimes the wording changes. So you can't say, oh, there's somebody going with an ed or something. No. With the irregular past tense, the wording even changes. All right. So once again, with irregular past tense, the wording can change anytime. So you're going to have to just remember each form of the verb. Irregular. So once again, like I made an example earlier on, when we started, I made an example of jumped and watched and played and so on. That is regular past tense. But our main focus on is on the irregular past tense and how the wording, for example, changes from I do to I did something. So it means that you're gonna have to just remember each form of the tenses or the past tense. All right. So now we're going to A plus students.ca, and we're going to identify the irregular past. All right. So we're going to identify the irregular past. Remember, jumped and watched, that is regular past tense. That's regular. We are focusing on the irregular past tense. All right. So now it says we need to identify the past. All right. So we're not going to identify the irregular past tense. All right. So now we're going to say which sentence is in the past tense. We're not going to identify a sweater that is in the past tense. And remember, we said that when it comes to the past tense, then we have irregular past tense, and that means that you do not follow any rule, but you're going to have to remember the past tense form. All right. So now we're going to have to say which is in the past. Yeah, it says Shannon goes to the library. Goes, which is something that she does now. What is the past tense of goes? And if we were to identify, if we say Shannon goes to the library, and then if we were to find the past tense of goes, then we can say so goes is our verb, but the past tense form of goes is went. So do you see how the word changes from goes to went? That is now went is the past tense form. All right. So look how the word, once again, how the wording changes. And that is why we say it is irregular. Irregular past tense. You don't follow any rules. All right. And here we have first past tense verb. All right. So went. Well done. The next one says Frank takes his sled away. Takes. We need to find the past tense of takes. All right. And we said that, oopsie, and we said that takes is our irregular, it's basically our verb. It basically tells us the thing or tells us what the person is doing. It tells us what Frank is doing. So takes. Now we need to find the irregular past tense of takes. All right, yes. And if we were to identify and say which one is the past tense, then we can say the past tense of takes. Takes is something that you do now. But if we, for example, make mention of it in the past, then we say he or she took my lunch. They take it today, but in the past they took your lunch. So well done. Took is correct. Right? So takes is basically the the action that Frank is doing now, but in the past, the wording changes. The next one says, Patrick comes over to my house. What is the past tense of come? Comes over to my house. So the past tense of comes is came, right? All right, so now we're going to identify the irregular past tense. So goes and went. All right. All right, so we're going to identify the past tense. It says which sentence is in the past tense? All right, so which sentence is in the past? It happened already, it's past. Do we say Mandy found pennies on the ground, option one, or Mandy finds pennies on the ground? Yes, you can. All right, so we said that found. So finds is now, but found is our irregular past tense. Well done. Found is correct. It says which sentence is in the past tense? Do you say the girls got ready to go, or do you say the girls get ready to go? All right. So yet now says that which sentence is in the past? Remember everything that's in the past. One is in the present, one is in the past. The girls got ready to go, or option two, the girls get ready to go. What is the past tense within the sentence? Oops. And here we can say the girls got ready or the girls get ready. Mandy found pennies on the ground. Yes, well done. So found is our past tense. Well done. And yet now says the girls got ready. And got is in the past tense because get is now got in the past. We need to identify the sentence that's in the past. In the barn, we heard owls. Heard. Option one. Or do we say option two? In the barn, we hear owls. We need to select the irregular past tense. All right, and then once again, also we say which sentence is in the past tense. It says in the barn we heard owls, or option two, in the barn we hear owls. All right. So now we say that if we were to identify the past tense in heard, because it's something you hear something now, but in the past tense you heard something. So I hear a sound now, but in the past I heard a sound. Yes, well done. Heard is correct. We need to select the past tense. The birds flew above the river. Option one, or the second one that says the birds fly above the river. What is the past tense within that sentence? Is it flew or fly? The past tense. Get ready is something that they're doing now, but you need to, if you want to say that they get ready in the if we're talking about the past, then we can then rather say the girls got ready. But the girls get ready to go. Well done. So the birds flew above the river. We must select the past tense. Or do we say the birds fly above the river to identify the past tense? And if we were to identify the past tense form, then yes, we can say the birds flew above the river. If we say they fly, then it's something that they're doing now. So well done. Flew is correct. The next one says, which sentence is in the past tense? The birds sang in the daytime or the birds sing in the daytime? So do we say the birds sang or the birds sing? Yes, and if we were to identify the past tense, then yes, we can say the birds sang because singing is something that you do now, but in the past tense, they sang. Well done. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. We said that when it comes to irregular past tense, then the wording changes. It's like that verb or the past tense verb changes. We're no longer just adding d or ed to show that this is now in the past, but you're going to have to show, for example, that it's either going to have to remember it or you're just going to have to, for example, identify how the wording changes from the present tense verb to the past tense verb. All right. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. We say that the wording changes with irregular past tense. You're just going to have to remember the form of the verb when it changes, right? So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. So till next time, goodbye.